Welcome back once again, everyone, to the Wild Rift Open for its third iteration. And now we're here for the quarterfinals between Chihuahua and MDH Esports. Once again, I'm Infinity and there's Grandin with me. Now we're here in the quarterfinals, rather, Grandin. Any expectations seeing these new teams?
Well, they both 2-0 their opponents in the last round of competition, so I'm expecting great things for them. If they were able to take down their strong opponents before, then yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they have in store for us. We just had a pretty exciting 3-game series, a really long-standing rivalry between a bunch of the players from the Thailand region, and being able to take down the counterparts eventually was a very exciting one, especially with the Vayne pop off at the end, 10-1 and 5, really showing exactly how to execute on that hyper carry composition.
Yeah, it's allies that became rivals, right? Because two of these players for each of these teams just a while back were allies before for SEA Games representatives. So it was an interesting moment to see here in Wild Rift Open 3. But here in the quarterfinals, we're here now on Chihuahua versus MDH Esports. And what I've seen when it comes to the pattern of what happened in game is that there is always just this priority on these dragons. So it's an expectation that we could have coming here for the quarterfinals.
Well, there is a strong priority towards dragons, but we've also seen Rift Herald still definitely a very viable option as well. So it's really about deciding which one you want to try and go for at any given point of time, or both if possible, right? So I think there is some value to be seen here on how these teams look to try to approach things, because everyone's going to approach it slightly differently. The meta is still
Yeah.
evolving and quite new, so I think we have quite a bit of leeway to decide how we want to try and go about things. So yeah, frankly, not many expectations to be had here. I just want to see how they want to do things.
Yeah, and as you stated about going about things, we actually could see the whole bracket so far in Wild Rift Open 3 on how it's going, what's happening on the whole tournament so far. So right now we've seen the series number one a while ago between LFD and Phoenix Ladies that went into the next series. So right now that's ongoing. Currently, Grind Sky Aries is on top of Phoenix Ladies. And for the second bracketing for the quarterfinals, we have NML Story 4 and Royal Ladies. The current one that we are going to cast is Chihuahua and MDH Esports. And for the next quarterfinals that is also ongoing, it's Talon Esports versus Let's Be Honest. So it's an exciting moment here for Wild Rift Open 3.
Oh, absolutely. Some pretty tight matches coming by. And of course, we have previous champions, Grind Skyers, coming by. Grind Skyers are on a massive hot streak regionally in play. And I think even internationally, they will be looking pretty good. And so we need to see if these teams can stack up against them. And it's like we said earlier on, if Talent Esports do manage to take down their opponents, and if they do manage to find Grind Sky Ares later down the competition, it'll be in the finals. And so there's that one chance there to be had. So let's see how they intend to approach that and get to that point.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And also quick shout outs to Yahoo and Intel for making this tournament possible and sponsoring this tournament. So thank you very much. But I think we're near into the draft here, Brandon. We're nearing to see the picks and bans here for the series.
The funny thing is, we actually did like the interview with Yahoo, but prior to like Icon starting, right? Me, Omo,
Mhm.
and Autolus, and then we had like a whole prediction thing, and we're talking about which regions were right, we're going to be strong, and we were pretty right about things. The surprising thing definitely was like the second seed of the WCK not doing as well, but overall really did hit the nail on its head. And I think as we look back towards Southeast Asia's success in Icons, I think it translates quite a bit here to the FSL as well. I mean, FSL looks like they have been the teams here have been evolving and growing a lot, so and are looking to be a pretty stacked region as a whole.
Yeah, I've seen that article. Amazing stuff. I think I could call you like Brandon the Prophet or something. Predictions.
Well, I mean, we saw. I mean, it was pretty straightforward. It was pretty obvious. Like we saw
Yeah.
what was coming in. We knew what was going to. We could expect. Maybe slightly different end results, but overall, pretty close to
Pretty
exactly
much.
what we were looking for.
Yeah. But now we're here into the draft. We're already swiftly going all throughout the picks and bans. We have Wukong as the first pick for MDH on the blue side. And for Chihuahua, we have Ari Lucian locked in.
So interesting options to begin on the red side. They get the Ari and the Lucian, some really powerful pickups and still quite flexible. But this also means they don't have much direction to work off of just yet, and they've already shown off quite a bit of their composition by showing that they have the Ari in the mid lane and thus the Lucian likely in the bot side. We have seen a little bit of Lucian in the top side, but I think it is quite unlikely here. MDH are going to go for a composition that is, again, easy to execute. My favorite kind of composition. An Wukong, Alistar, Annie, lots of crowd control, a surprisingly high amount of damage, and easy to execute because you just need to move together as a...
Yeah, it's a linear composition. You have Wukong, Alistar going in, Annie following through. So really strong. And as you were waiting since a while ago, Grandin, we're now having Jax for Chihuahua.
A Jax finally gets to come through. We were hoping to see that last game. That was something that I expected to show up in the last game, but instead they went for the Vayne angle. That being said, though, TSUAHAH have not invested very much to get this Jax off the ground and really hit the ball running. Instead, what we see here are a lot of relatively selfish laners, right? You have a very selfish mid laner, you have a very selfish bot laner in terms of the gold that's required, golden EXP required. And it's now quite easy for MDH to ban away options that can potentially support this, right? You want to get rid of the Yuumi. This Karma has already been banned away. I think the Shen would be a very good ban here. Unless they intend to try and go for something themselves, maybe try and give the Shen, leave the Shen open, then try and take the Rakana or something else. But the Alistar's already gone, so it would be good to ban the Shen away.
Especially since the beginning of the WCS this year, we've seen like a Yuumi and Jax play hand in hand really strongly. But with MDH banning that specific champion away, you have a Lulu option for Chihuahua instead.
Lulu comes across. All right, not too bad here for TSUAHAH. But of course, again, we're seeing just a single option assisting the Jax. There are still multiple things that can deal with it, especially if they want to go for just a traditional marksman that Vayne might have been a little bit over ambitious. By going for the Kaiser instead, lots of damage, can deal with the Ari and the Lucian quite well. Even the Lulu. Set is the final pickup. So Shen could still be an option if they want to.
Could be. And if they do go for this, I think they're really just going in for an all-in type of composition, right? Because Kai'Sa can also go for an all-in with Killer Instinct. So pretty much MDH Esports have this already in mind for this game 1.
Nautilus perhaps here, the final pick. But I think it is unlikely considering we've already seen the rest of the pickups. Renekton, maybe into Jay's matchup. Interesting one. Would still, again, prefer the Shen, something that can assist the Jax here. They have a lot of difficulty with crowd control, with a lot of peel. I don't feel the Renekton is the answer for that.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit more difficult, especially with the Jays coming on top. So a lot more pokes that could happen up against a Renekton. So not the easiest situation on a 1v1 basis. But here we go. It's all draft locked in for MDH Esports and Chihuahua. But then Ari to go to the bot lane. Is this like a switch in players? Or
no, I don't think so. I think it's just like they didn't order themselves right, and so I think an IIP seems very familiar as a name as well. Actually, TSUAHAH does seem like a very familiar T. The names look very familiar. I feel like I've seen them before. I'm pretty sure I've seen them in some iteration before. Yet again, another case of my memory failing me. Unfortunate.
Well, I'm on the same boat. So
you're in the same boat. All right, very cool. Well, we're already getting pretty close into the top 4 position. I think 58 get 1,000 wildcards. So I think if you win this series, that's already a prize. And then beyond that, of course, you start really playing for like the cash money ahead of you. And in first place, I think it's like a little over $500, which is a very nice little prize for the kind of effort and time that you've invested into the game. Just a nice little incentive, just to remind you, like, why play so much? Well, there we go. You're making money off of it. You're a professional. That's what you are.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also a perfect timing, especially now that we have new skin lines for Wild Rift. Right? We have the Star Guardian and new champions having this Star Guardian skin as well. So really amazing stuff here.
Yeah, all the new things coming by. I'm not gonna lie, after seeing the review for the Scar Guardian stuff in Icons, I haven't actually been following much of what else has been going on. So I need to go back and take a look at the latest advancements with that. What an interesting start. MDH with the full 5-man stack roster with all the control wards and then recalling to pick up a change in their trinkets again. Very interesting preparation by MDH.
Yeah. Although with the restrictions that you have time that you need to catch up to go into the wave, but I think that's pretty much an easy time for MDH Esports to do. So right now they're just taking the advantage of the unlimited time amount of a control ward that is up if it's not broken.
Yeah, exactly, right? So you get it down to one time, and then you switch over to your regular trinket, and it just lasts you so much. It just lasts you so much longer throughout the game because you already have that. And what a terrible position for Q to be in, right? That is such a tough spot to be in. Taking damage from the piercing light so quickly, zoned away from the wave, and then dashing in with the piercing light. I mean, a stressful spot.
Yeah, it's so painful. Q received like pretty much all the bullets coming from Lucian's guns, and it's just too difficult right now to be able to farm more safer. And I think Mia has to do something into the bot lane if ever TSUAHAH just goes for an all-in.
Look at how rough this is. Literally, Mia has to walk down just to show her presence to give space over to Q, but as a result, TSUAHAH can just walk over and pressure them instead. Den has gone over and joining into the fight now.
The charm onto Alistar. Ayapi is dead though. She's locked in, and now it's Sao just going through, but then comes here into the fray. Sao is just stunned up onto the hills. That's 2 kills for TSUAHAH immediately into the fight, and MDH Esports only got 1 in the end.
And 2 more flashes out of the way. Q had to flash, Mia had to flash. So we have such a difficult spot for MDH to play from. TSUAHAH, on the other hand, still have a lot of pressure. 700 gold up. Here for Ken in the bot side. Gets to go back to base, come back in with more items, with more damage. And the fact is, Den coming in here, just getting a little extra as well. You know, as a Jax, you're always happy for a little extra gold, some kill participation. But the rest of the game, you're going to focus on scaling up. So starting things off with a very interesting, explosive fight in the river.
Yeah, and the really scary part on top of that is that Ken was the one who got the 2 kills. So right now, the difference between 2 ADCs is 700 gold. That's huge for 2 minutes and 40 seconds into the matchup.
So slightly different kind of compositions here on both sides. MDH have the easier to play late game composition where they have a lot of really strong team fighting happening around the neutral objectives and decent shred on the neutral objectives as well with the Kaisa. Whereas with TSUAHAH, it's going to be a little bit more complicated. They're going to have to focus on getting these pickoffs, on getting the Jax online in the hyper late game. Be very careful about how these team fights play out, because if the Jax goes down, you could face a situation where you have a lack of damage. So they definitely don't want to be in that spot if possible. But so far, the way things are going to start, so are actually with a really promising start to this match, this series.
Yeah, definitely. And for now, even if TSUAHAH got the 2 kills a while ago, I think MDH Esports is doing relatively well still. It's only a 500 gold lead coming in from TSUAHAH, so it's not that much of a difference in this early game. So commendable plays coming from MDH Esports, still keeping up with that gold. But Q though, really low from that mid lane fight.
And this is going to make a bit of a difference because 2 won't be able to keep farming up and try and pick up more items before the objectives start to spawn up. Whereas Ken gets to go back, pick up a Storm Razor. I think 2 is still another long sword away from being able to get the upgrade to the Acadian Rain, which is a pretty massive damage spike. So very unfortunate situation here for MDH where they will have to make one more recall before the fight starts out. This is just one of those sacrifices that has to happen when you try and go for a more scaling option.
Yeah. And on the counterpart, Ken already has the Storm Razor, so huge difference when it comes to the item build so far. for both these teams. And 11 seconds till the Mountain Drake and the Rift Herald spawns up.
Yeah, MDH do not get to go back. Instead, we'll just have to make do with whatever they have right now. And what they have right now is a lot of scaling. But a little complicated to play from.
MDH Esports ready to go for the contest if ever Chihuahua goes for the Rift Herald. And Ken, Lulu, just on the backside. MDH has to cover this up as well.
Darius was positioning towards the top side as the Alistar. He has a lot of crowd control. You can see how dashing in can respond with a Preventless Pursuit away instead.
The culling is there. Going through for a lot of these damage up onto Darius. So when it comes to the HP advantage, it's Chihuahua who has it in the bag. But for now, Mountain Drake will be that priority for Chihuahua, while Alistar just got killed by Lulu.
Scaling options always prefer the Dragon, and so we see a flash in, big stun by Sal.
That's massive coming from an Annie. And now it's Den going to be the next step coming in from MDH, trying to get that kill. The flash over the wall is going to be massive. Getting for that double, but Ayapi just gets the trade. It's a 3-for-2 in favor of Chihuahua.
But you have to remember Darius went down prior to this as well, and so it is still quite a substantial pickup here for TSUAHAH. They have to reset, come back here, potentially play for the Dragon again. MDH Esports have the means to fight for it better this time around. You can start to see TU coming in here with the second BF sword. Picks up the Canton Rain upgrade, a little bit more damage, a little bit more scaling on Sound as well, but no more ultimate on the Annie. So much that hinged on the fact of a massive Tibbers out from the Annie, out from Sal, landing on so many key priority targets. Not going to be possible this time around. I think MDH Esports have to give this one away, but they don't want to give this one away for free.
Yeah, we'll see. As right now, Chihuahua once again hovering onto the Dragon Pit. Darius is ready to go. She also has her flash if ever she wants to go in to go for the knockback. Rift Herald already spawned by MDH Esports into the mid lane. That's going in for Darius. Going for the knock-up to set up the play. I'm Roggy going in for the backside. Going for the free hit with that ultimate Spirit Rush. But Chu flashes over the wall. That's already a double kill for Chu. And Ayapi is stuck in between the members of MDH as they will lose 4 members for Chihuahua.
So close to multiple kills onto Sal, onto Darius, but they still live through it all. And TSUAHAH unable to convert for those final kills while the Rift Tower runs a second charge in the mid lane. The Dragon going over to MDH, and he hit a critical spike in this fight, able to take down TSUAHAH, the opponents here. But still too early in the game to have scaled up to a point of power.
Just a phenomenal play overall from MDH Esports. Darius with a setup, Chu with a follow-up on free hitting Chihuahua, cleaned them up. So right now, from a 2k or 1k gold deficit comes up on top from MDH Esports, getting the 1k gold lead as of yet. But for now, we're going back into farming. We're going back to the lane phase.
And of course, we have to have these moments because both sides want to get their main carries up online as quickly as they can. That being said, though, they will still look for some quick moments like this where a catch onto Aurelia means a kill going over to TSUAHAH. But both sides are looking to try and get their main carries up as much as possible. I think Den is actually making a major mistake here by joining into the fight. Should be focusing more on picking up gold. You can see here 5,000 to 6.3 on the side of Mia. Think about what they need in the late game. It's to have Den as far ahead as possible, whereas Q has managed to catch back up phenomenally well against Ken here, now only marginally behind.
Yeah, and with a tier 1 turret already down in the mid lane for Chihuahua, it's much more difficult for them to just roam around, especially with the waves just pushing in. If you see like the map, the tier 2 turret in mid lane already half HP. So MDH Esports, when it comes to that map control, has the advantage up against them.
The Rift Tower coming up again, and I think TSUAHAH, after having lost that previous fight, are reeling a little bit, and so maybe not so confident in taking the next fight. But we do see here Uncensored here for Ayapi, really trying to double down on the power of the Jax. I think the Jax has a slightly easier time ramping up into these fights now. Just needs a little bit more time. Jones tried to dive into the back line to take out a critical target. I think they just have to worry about the front line first. Once they get rid of the same target together, makes it much easier to play from. Okay, just giving away the Rift Herald. They say, what does Rift Herald do? It gives us a turret. We just take 2 turrets in exchange for that time.
Yeah, definitely pulling up on the gold for Dan. This is what you were talking about a while ago, that Dan needs to catch up when it comes to gold, because when you're comparing it onto Mie, it's a significant amount of difference in contrast between them. So this is what they were doing to alleviate that gold deficit.
MDH Esports start to run in onto the turrets. The bot side will see some pressure as they try and chase after, but now the Rift Herald looking to crash in on the inhibitor. Difficult to respond here. It's a Culling trying to clear the wave.
Yeah, the calling is there already forced immediately because the Rift Herald just may get the inhib turret, but 38 HP once again. But then it's a 2v1. It's Sao trying to get ahead of Den, but the stun, the counter strike is there with one more hit with his staff. That's a kill for Den.
Overextending and playing for the kill a little bit too much there. Mie might be able to hunt someone down, but the recall's already been channeled early enough, and so to get the back off in time, then just walks out of that one. No danger to be had there. Too needs to be a little bit careful. The Chum goes wide, and so gets the focus on clearing out the wave. And so, not a big loss here. I mean, you don't really need the turret right away. You don't need the inhibitor right away. You don't want to have the wave permanently pushing in before any objectives come up. But as we start to see the dragon come in, as we start to see Nasha spawn up once in this game, then you want to have the inhibitor there so there's a wave constantly applying pressure. At the same time, so many other turrets to go for. MDH could go for the top side, could go for the bot side. Many other things to go for before having to insist on this mid lane inhibitor going down.
Could definitely be that option for them. Right now, TSUAHAH once again is pressuring on top side of the map. They're going in, patting themselves onto Aurelia, but Darius is there to respond as well. So Aurelia is back to safety.
Some good pressure coming through. MDH Esports having difficulty in the side lanes. We'll finally get this bot side done. But Chase coming through, then the counter strike. Looks like Ken's hunting for a kill on the Darius. Darius tanky with the Unchained, but not tanky enough.
And right now, TSUAHAH going for the pressure onto the mid lane. Ayapi is very low. That's a kill onto Sao with the ultimate falling down on Tibbers. And right now, Stasis and Chan onto Den. Going back to safety. They already got a tier 2 turret mid lane. The charm connects though onto Chu. Not gonna pull through though. They have an HP disadvantage up against MDH.
13 seconds until the dragon comes up. Baron coming up in half a minute. So should be able to recall, reset, and get back in here on time. Unfortunately for them, that means they will have to fight the 4 versus 5. As Darius should be able to run in slightly faster than IFE can. Actually not. Doesn't seem to be the case. Never mind. They wanted to go for the teleport and maybe try and look for a fight there instead.
Yeah. TSUAHAH will not be able to come through to go for the contest here. That dragon just got melted too quick. Chu's damage is now exceptionally high now that she has the Storm Razor with a BF Sword along with the build up onto potential BRK on that last item or a Bloodthirster.
Burn up MDH, like we mentioned earlier, have good damage, shredding the Baron down, and so I'll have to be a little bit careful about this one. If you give it away, or you give too much space with the MDH Esports, they could pick this one up. I think at this point, MDH really want that turret, so I think it might just be worthwhile sending someone over to the mid side, take the turret down, and then recall after that.
Especially now that TSUAHAH doesn't really have that much vision towards that stuff in the right quadrant jungle for them. So a good ninja and sneak into the mid turret could open up the mid lane in favor for MDH Esports. But for now, everyone's playing really, really well. Not going for an overextension, because if they do, difficult time, especially with Baron up.
Funnel Dragon next one up. Lilia picks up the teleport. Some pretty clear indication she wants to go to the side lane. Just focus on clearing things out. But no Hullbreaker is an interesting decision here. Wants to still be active with the team. Wants to join back in quickly. But also wants to have some power in the side lane. Unfortunately for them, I think the Renekton does come up slightly ahead now with the way the itemization is going.
Now Cleaver and BRK. It's actually really, really nice. So we'll see how this will turn out, because right now everyone's just playing tag it. Like they tag and they go back away. and they just run.
Sure.
But now it's going to be Sao going through for the flash, but the tipper's in. That's a Sun. Spirit Rush coming from Ari, not going to be enough as Mian catches him down, and Ken with Wild Growth just buying sustainability all throughout the mid lane, just defending, but losing one member at this staple moment is just too huge of a disadvantage right now for Chihuahua.
There you go, hits you with the tag you're in, and Rogi goes down as a result of that. So Rogi is now hit. Rogi needs to find a return kill, and then tag somebody else. But you see what happens here, they don't have lane control, they don't have wave management, and there's, as a result, in a very difficult position to try and close this one.
They're gonna follow suit when it comes to the advantage
Oh,
into
no.
the engage. Ken just melts down everyone in his path.
So quickly taking him down, and this is the point where Den really comes online, has that additional power. Ayapi coming in here with the Ardent Sensor just boosts them up, and it has so much additional effect because it's not just on the Jax but also on the Lucian, who's been doing so well as well. Huge knockup.
Yeah, they turn around and get to the fight, and now it's going to be just Lucian dealing so much damage with the culling as well. Chu is down.
Accurate.
It's 4 dead on MDH Esports. In trade for John Easy, but the charm is there. Connecting onto Aurelia. Ken just jumps over the wall. That's it. The Baron Nashor being taken down.
Yeah, he needs to get the shield over to Den though, and he's had to use the smite early as a result. So now this time around, no smite over by the back of the pit. Aurelia is still standing by. Ayapi very low right now. Goes over to MDH Esports, secured by the Lucian, and Aurelia finally goes down. Whew, what an intense fight around the Baron.
Yeah, and it was long, even way before the Baron as well. It was like consistent fight, consistent clash from both these teams. And these teams doesn't want us to breathe. It's consistent fights.
An intense spot here for MDH Esports, now losing some of their momentum. They have some good scaling options, but with how strong these fights have been going in the favor of TSUAHAH, we're reaching a point where the gold discrepancy is amounting to quite a bit. Den has finally pulled a hit over Mia. Has some good damage, has some good survivability. Are going down over to the red side.
Good utilization of the Baron Nashor, pushing on top side and while pushing on bot lane. But now, Ari is really low. I don't think the Spirit Rush will be enough though. The charm is there onto Chiu, but she's too quick, she's too mobile. I don't know how she does it. Now there he is, just on the front line, tanking all the damage coming in from Chihuahua. But there you go, Chihuahua's just diving in. They're going for an all-in here, and now it's Chu and Sal, the only one left alive, but the Nexus open. It's over. Chihuahua striking first in the quarterfinals.
And being able to play for the Jax, get that scaling game going, but also having a strong early game. I mean, just feels like they understood what needed to be done. It was a bit of an interesting position because they had these like interesting fights to begin with, and then there was that really weird fight around the dragon. Went the favor of MDH Esports, and MDH was trying to pull back a little bit, but then very quickly again we just saw TSUAHAH being able to take down their opponents through some very creative fighting later on. Then was coming online, but of course Ken's performance in this game was phenomenal. Not only was she able to go 12-0 and 5 by the end of it, was also you saw how playing around the Baron, the decision making there, hunting for the kill onto Aurelia, preventing her from getting closer towards the pit, but also securing the Baron in the meantime. I mean, that is a lot to worry about and to think about while dealing with the threats in the back as well, while also being that hyper carry.
Yeah, it was just phenomenal from the early game as well into the mid game. She was performing quite amazingly into the fight. So a flawless win coming from Chihuahua here for the first game. Now the question is, how would MDH Esports answer this for game 2? How would they answer the draft? What would they ban? Are they going for a different pick, or are they going for something similar?
I mean, Ken literally kept 2 on like a dot of HP the entire laning phase, which is probably worse than just outright killing the Kai'Sa, right? Because if Ken kept her at that HP, she was not going to be able to stay in range for golden EXP, whereas if you just die and reset, you just walk back in, and you would be able to fight for lane control again. I mean, very honestly, it just felt like the pressure in that bot side was too immense. I think the Lucian ban is a must in the next game if you do not want to deal with this one again.
So yeah, we're looking at Lucian for Chihuahua if ever they want to go for it once again, or if it's going to be banned away. We'll see about that. But before then, we're gonna take a short break before game two, so stay tuned because it's already match point for Chihuahua. Welcome back, everyone, to the quarterfinals here at Wild Rift Open 3 between Chihuahua, that they have already got the match point against MDH Esports.
Yeah, the first game going over their way, and they managed to do it by executing with a scaling option, but also with an incredible Lucian game. And so, hoping to see a response come back and banning away the Lucian this time around, it felt like they had a pretty good grasp on what else they needed to do. But ultimately, the Lucian just was too much of an issue. I think MDH were very, very close. They were already trying to draft for a composition that was quite easy to execute for, and then just needed a little bit more to work with. So, just hoping to see that one tiny instance change. Just ban away the Lucian, and then the rest of the game plan, I want to see what else they can go for.
Yeah, that's something else through for the ADC. Maybe Corky let it through for the opposing team. We'll see, but just illusion.
Sure.
They're looking at the early game, right? It's just too strong up until the late game. So now we'll see how that would change up for this game too. But when it comes to the draft, do you think Annie could still hold on? For
I think Annie
MDH?
was fine. I think, in fact, that Saul managed to keep them in the game longer because of the amazing ultimates that we saw from her, being able to help them win that really nice dragon fight, giving them a little bit of a swing back into their favor. Because apart from that, they had a really rough laning phase, I'd say. And so, yeah, Annie seems like a fine pickup here.
So yeah, we'll see how that would change up the draft here for MDH Esports. I'm actually curious as well who the blue side would be, and I think it is now TSUAHAH getting the blue side, and MDH now going for the red side. So this could mean something when it comes to the draft.
Yes, Infi, changing sides does mean something. We'll talk a little bit more about it when we do get into the drafts. I'd say we've mentioned this quite a number of times today already, so I'm not too keen to go back and repeat and readdress that same issue. I think we are going to picks and pans now, and taking a look at what they have in store for us. But overall, right, some of the ideas that I think will be quite interesting to see are how the introduction of new champions is going to come about. MDH Esports will not ban away Lucian, so it does go back over this while again. Yeah, just the idea of how they intend to adapt to new things and new ideas. For example, the little rework onto Teemo, where the shroom is now that damage over time instead of the physical location. So a very interesting little change coming back in, making it more akin to its like PC counterpart. How those adaptations come into effect. For example, the Yari as well.
Yeah. Although unfortunately, we didn't see MDH Esports ban away Lucian, and Chihuahua first picks it. So a prio picked up for Chihuahua, and Ken just really performed out of these champions. So that's an expectation here coming for game number 2. But Ari and Rakan going to be that answer for MDH.
I mean, with how well the Lucian was able to do last game, it makes perfect sense why they would want to double down for this again. I think maybe this time around, MDH Esports could afford to try and play for a mage bot laner. But now already showing the Ari early on is going to make things a little bit more difficult. Maybe something like Corki this time instead. Oh, interesting. Okay, if they go for the Lee Sin here, trying to pick up some additional tempo, could be very nice for them, right? They already have the Lucian. Lucian, if they have faith in Ken to perform well again, Jones could really get things going.
Yeah, and Ayapi could run it back onto a Lulu for themselves to have that potential of more sustainability and survivability for Den or even Ken later on. But yeah, they opted not to go for the Jax this time around.
Yeah, instead going for some more powerful options, I'd say. Different kinds of power, right? The Jax gives you power in the late game. It also does really well against a lot of auto-attacking type champions because you have that counter-strike. But against MDH Esports right now, they're more focused on doing a lot of crowd control, a lot of AP damage. And so going for the Lee Sin instead, where they're able to burst down these squishier targets, seems to be the better option here.
Yeah, definitely. And instead of a Lulu, they picked up Nami as well. So a lot is changing for the side of TSUAHAH, that they want to adapt into the situation for the blue side. And Nami still definitely gives you a lot of sustainability, especially when it comes to early game, with some heals and also extra movement speed for Ken.
yeah, getting some little boost in movement speed to help them rotate around, reposition, and also a pretty dominant lane duel, right? Lucian Nami does really well into most lane matchups. Looking at the Lux right now, this was something that I said they could try and do if they wanted to go for it. They could go for a mage bot laner and play for a safer matchup compared to what would happen if they went for something like the Kai'Sa again. But then there are other issues that arise from this as a result. Going for the Lux here does mean that you won't have much damage around the objectives. You won't be able to finish the dragons or the rift heralds as quickly as what TSUAHAH would probably be able to. So that's something to watch out for if you're MDH Esports.
Yeah. And right now we're going for the second phase bans here. MDH banning away Irelia and potentially Diana as a hover here. And TSUAHAH bans away Wukong, considering that MDH still doesn't have any jungle. And also Wukong being that evergreen champion in the jungle so far as what we've seen in prior series.
Yeah, just always showing up in your games, can never escape from it. You have to ban it away. And a big part of that has been with some of its just quality of life changes, right? Some of the way that the runes have updated as well, and the itemization just makes it so much better for the Wukong in jungle right now, even in lane, honestly. But you look towards the Wukong with its new update, being able to get over walls, gives it a good amount of mobility. VH with a surprising pickup here with the Riven. Okay.
Yeah, could potentially go top lane or jungle as of yet. Still very, very flexible from MDH Esports. They do not want to give in their draft so far. They want to delay it into the last pick. So now TSUAHAH hovering onto the Jace, but picking set first here. Really, really strong pick when it comes to team fighting.
Yeah, they're going to go for the Riven, and so the response from TSUAHAH seems to be the set. Um, Very interesting to go for the Riven in this angle, considering what you need right now. The Kha'Zix makes a lot more sense. You don't have much damage around the neutral objective, so the Kha'Zix can help supplement that quite a bit. But if you're going for the Riven here, you have to be very careful on how your lane matchup is going to go, and you showed that a little bit earlier on. Uh, yeah, I'm looking at it's looking okay, but you have no real front line. The problem with Riven here is that Riven wants to get the flank. Riven wants to come in from the side, wants to be able to jump you and get in on the fight from there. Whereas with what they're trying to go for now, they don't really have uh Chihuahua. Yeah, that's same thoughts. Riven here doesn't really have a front line to work off of, so if you're looking to flank, the rest of your team has to be very careful to not take too much damage before the fight can start.
Yeah, definitely. And double AP again from what we've seen in the past as well being implemented here for MDH Esports, having Ari and Lux. But Ari, a lot of expectations on Ari as well because of the changes on the ultimate, that she could pretty much just be mobile ultra out of team fight and could catch up and get those kills. To reset, her ultimate is going to be huge. So looking at Aurelia, looking at Sao for MDH, I'm looking at Ken once again for the side of TSUAHAH.
Very similar composition here. And so we want to see if they're able to close out the game, if TSUAHAH can in fact close out the game right away. Or if we're going to go into a game 3 again.
You thinking? You thinking game 3?
I don't know. I feel like with how we've seen them play so far, I think they could close it out 2-0. But I don't want to discount MDH, right? MDH had some really good performances in the mid game. They were much stronger, and so with a more mid game centric composition this time around, I think they could have it.
Yeah, and that could potentially happen as well for game 3 if ever MDH Esports decides to, punish Ken. Because given their draft, I think Ken would be the centerpiece for TSUAHAH for this game too.
Wow, Sal takes so much damage right from the get-go, and we really start to see some pressure coming through. If this is how the laning phases are going to turn out, it's going to be very rough for MDH.
Would definitely be the fast clear time or clear wave with Lux and having Ari as well into the mid lane will help a bit. Though I'm really afraid of when it comes down to the objectives because you really don't have like a mainstay marksman coming from MDH Esports. You have Riven, you have Kha'Zix, but they're not marksmen.
Look at what happens here, just so well played by TSUAHAH in both the mid lane and the bot lane. Man, it's gonna come in, maybe look for some pressure here, but the response back from Den as well is just to make it difficult. And the bot side, very close to that kill onto Darius, and so now they're just in a constant struggle to stay alive here.
Yeah. And on top side as
Surely not the
well,
top side as well. If top side wins as well, that's just going to be a very difficult position for MDH to play from.
definitely. Although Mie and Sao patting themselves on top side of the map here, but just securing the scuttle for top side, so a more safety potential for Aurelia to be able to go more aggressive a bit, as we've seen just a couple of seconds ago being aggressive onto John Easy.
Trying to look for the trade on the Scuttle Crab, but it's going to end up wasting a little bit of time in the process. Won't be able to clear out the blue buff, then missing a little bit of tempo, but making this the safer play overall. So I can respect that decision making there. Jones actually very close to maybe a solo kill here with a little bit more damage if Aurelia does choose to commit for this. But this seems to be unlikely.
Yeah, especially with the HP disadvantage that she has up against John Easy. Looking quite dire. For now, everyone's still at the pacing that they want, but TSUAHAH, surprisingly enough, already at a 900 gold lead up against MDH this early on.
Yeah, just off of like the laning phase alone, we really start to see that gold difference come into play. You have to remember as well that Den hasn't been able to farm very much, going into their own jungle and then being zoned away from the top side of the map. Does mess a little bit up with the timings, so a little bit awkward overall. Still though, we'll be able to make some decent recovery. Not coming through though.
Yeah, Sao coming through with the Spirit Rush as well. Does so much damage. She's just dodging every single thing from Rogi, and that's the first blood for MDH.
Well done there, coming through MDH with first blood in the mid lane after having lost some pressure against Rogi. Jumps back in with the Spirit Rush, gets the Ignite down, and gets the first blood kill. Up towards the top side, a fight happens as well.
Although I don't think that's going to translate into any kills anytime soon. But for now, in the bot side of the map, it's Ayapi getting the kill onto Darius. That's the most ideal situation, not giving a kill.
He had it, didn't have to go for it, but now setting up for a dive. Final Spark's gonna clear out the way, but then's gonna come in, gets a kick across. Ken gets closer as a result, and with the piercing light and a couple wild attacks, a kill in the bot side. Second one coming across.
Yeah, and with the changes from patch 3.3, turrets in the bottom side of the map, in the bottom lane, is much more susceptible to clear compared to mid lane and top lane. But meh, hovering on top side of the map might potentially be an aggression here. Not going to pull through. John Easy is playing very safe.
Just keeping things calm for now. We do see quite a bit of pressure out from MDH Esports towards the top end of the map, but with first spawn coming up in just under a minute, we have to see how these teams intend to adapt to that. A lot of power here already by Ken. An amazing performance last game, and looking to repeat that once again. Stormrazor's up, damage is out. MDH Esports feeling the brunt of that.
Yeah, this is scary. It's looking like a run back from game number 1 on how Ken has played it. Even cancels Q's recall. Not going to be that significant, especially with the wave just slowly creeping in and the dragon not coming up at real soon. It's like 5 seconds, so it's alright, it's fine. But just the potential of Ken is crazy for this game.
So they're trying to decide which side they want to try and play for.
Then going for the Rift Herald, go for the face check, has this information. The rest of the members of TSUAHAH is coming through. Now the quickness with the grand entrance goes for the 3-man knockup. Final Spark follows suit. And now Nami with the ultimate tidal wave goes in for the 2-man knockup. Huge play from TSUAHAH. That's a triple for this team.
An unreal amount of crowd control there. Unable to play the game, Aurelia just stood there having to tank up every single shot. Then flashes over the wall, picks up the smite, tries to heal up. Will not be able to survive through it though. The exhaust now coming across. Sao in a spot of danger, flashing forward. Ken looking for the last auto attack.
Oh!
Gets tagged by the charm at the max range and goes down in a bid for a kill.
That charm was phenomenal coming in from Sao. that shouldn't have connected, but Ken used up the flash, so no more safety to go back away. And now MDH with Ken down, they go for the Ocean Drake.
So MDH Esports not only get the Rift Herald, but also get the Dragon as well. I mean, 2 objectives headed their way off of very strange fights. 5-1 for a moment, but then quickly turning 5-3 after a takedown onto Ken and a takedown onto Den go their way.
Really favorable for MDH as of yet. But still, a 2k gold lead for TSUAHAH. Rift Herald already spawned in the bottom lane. Try and get the tier 1 turret, potentially.
I feel like they were trying to tell us to call them Chihuahua. So I'll say closer to Chihuahua from here out.
Okay.
Earlier on when we were in Fixed Advance.
Alright. Chihuahua.
Yeah,
For the mid
gonna
lane.
go with that. The culling lands. The Aqua Prison lands, but the culling is out of range. Won't be able to get the kill. Darius survives there. Strong pressure here from Rogi, the bot side against Aurelia. And as a result, Mia's gonna have to come over and assist.
It's Cream and Roam from MDH Esports though. Kha'Zix is there to respond if ever a fight occurs, but not gonna pull through. Lux just goes back to retreat. And Aurelia is there just to clear out the wave.
What position to be in? Both sides right now. Either team could really pull ahead the lead. Sal doing an amazing job of managing the pressure. Alpha. Whereas Ken scaling up. Just making sure he has the 1 death. She has the 1 death. Right? She had the 1 death last game. Just wants to double back down on that.
Absolutely. Although quickness and grand entrance though starting up, the tidal wave to follow through, the counter engage to deny MDH Esports' fight, and right now Aurelia is looking for it for the sidelines, and now Den with the response just denies MDH Esports' potential to go for the kill onto Ken.
A little bit unreal how Ken was able to survive through all that. Hides away, dodges away from a lot of the spells, gets hit by the final spark, but there's literally nowhere to go. And even then, she was repositioning to dodge away from that. The reaction times, you can genuinely see. Very impressive from Ken here. The turret goes down as a result of that, and MDH finding some tempo here.
Yeah, definitely a tempo that they are benefiting from. Because it's down from a 1k gold lead a while ago into a 500 gold lead now for Chihuahua. And that's actually pretty massive when it comes to the difference. But right now, Sao hoping to get that kill onto Rogi, but the flash just puts him back to safety. And that's good.
You find a way to break open the stalemate. I think Chihuahua are alright with the current state of the game, but will end up facing some issues as they go later on as well. So generally want to be able to find a way to break the stalemate. MDH Esports a little bit better off in that late game, but just the next moments could find Chihuahua with a bit of a tempo advantage.
Yeah. This tempo is leading them to go for the Rift Herald instead right now. The light binding connects onto Ken. The flash to go back away, but the CC chain is flawless. Ken is just disintegrated. MDH gets the kill onto the ADC of Chihuahua.
Rift Herald goes down over the MDH Esports as well, but in the top side and the mids and the bot side, turrets going down to the efforts of Chihuahua. Rogi's going to be caught in a 2 versus 1 situation. Won't be able to get away from this one alive.
And they have to use the flash to catch up, so that's a summoner spell burned. But regardless, they get the kill. But John Easy on the opposite side of the map gets the kill as well onto Sao. Really massive kill coming from Chihuahua.
At the very least, able to find some damage on these other turrets. Can have to sacrifice her life to really make sure that things are going in favor for their team. MDH Esports looking to win out these team fights, getting closer towards that next dragon as well. If they're able to pick up a second, could benefit them greatly here.
Mountain Dragon gives you a little bit more sustainability and shield up against East Burst damage from both teams, so they get this. Definitely help them a lot. But for now, clear and waves are going to be important to have that advantage when it comes to the dragon and objective take.
Sensor is up, and a big damage spike here for Chihuahua as they have double items completed on most of their main damage dealers. Ken especially will see that happen. very close to double items on Rogi as well, so had to take a bit of a detour with some of their build, with some of his build, to have some effect against the members of MDH Esports.
Yeah, and look how MDH Esports is now patting themselves into the mid lane. Tidal Wave to go in for the counter engage, but they're too far away. It's now MDH Esports pinning out John Easy. That's first man down. And now with Den going for the Dragon's Rage onto Mie. Would that be enough though, as now it's Aurelia just catching up. Den was able to go back away, but they're one man down for this Mountain Drake fight.
Yeah, what a strange position to fight from. I mean, they just got engaged on. MDH Esports just frankly have a better composition to do that kind of thing. Maybe try and look for a steal here, but it's going to be difficult for sure. We'll get blocked there. Aurelia has the ward, and so knows where Den's going to come in from. So he can drag in all the MDH Esports, but he loses mid turret, and that makes things a little bit easier for Chihuahua to play from, getting to some control around both sides of the map.
Yeah. Although MDH Esports, 2 dragons already in their favor, which is really, really nice. Although, for the side of Chihuahua, they have a 2k gold lead. So, pretty much, both these teams are just playing on their strengths, on their advantage so far. And right now, Infernal Drake going to be next. What do you expect coming through for this next objective?
Well, I don't think the Infernal Drake is going to be the main thing that we have to worry about right now. I think Chihuahua have the Baron that they have to worry about instead. MDH Esports, like we mentioned earlier on, they had issues clearing out these neutral objectives when they first showed the first half of their picks and bans. But after once they went in for the Kazakhs, shows them gives them a lot more power to clear out these objectives. And so now, Baron, a reasonable threat here. MDH Esports could potentially pick this one up. So I have been losing some of these fights as of late due to the nature of the combos coming across. Not going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination. But the Baron is a potential pickup here for both sides. I think this is what they need to put their attention on first.
We'll see if that would happen as Mie hovers onto the Baron Nashor as well. Pretty much every single one is hovering to this objective, but Chihuahua opts to go back out, not to go and commit onto the Baron Nashor. They don't want that high risk so far.
The pressure from MDH Esports, unreal. Chihuahua have been forced away so far away from the Baron. Here we go, into the pit they go.
Uses the ultimate onto one on Mie. Tidal Wave though knocks them out. 2 ultimates already wasted.
Yeah, two ultimates committed there by Chihuahua to look for a pickup there, but too far away and blocked there by the Baron pit. Going for 2 different targets. Does not work out. Aurelia does have to put in both summoner spells. Rogi gets the reset. To give them enough time, perhaps. This Jace could potentially also be a win condition.
Definitely be an MDH Esports. Just pushing on a mid lane. We talked about when it comes to objectives, having a lane prio would be very important, but MDH Esports going for Death Brush here, but no one's just coming through. So it's difficult for them to set up a play.
For showing us that. Much appreciated. Our observer kindly giving us information on what they're doing. Yes, they are stacking on a brush. But that is kind of indicative of what they're trying to go for, right? With a strong pick-off composition, stuff like the charm, stuff like the grand entrance, exactly what they're trying to play for. Not sure what the intention was there. Walking into that spot seems a little bit foolhardy. As a result, they're down a member and they cannot check the Baron.
I'm telling you, Grandin, this is like a horror game as well. Now Tidal Wave coming through. Although Darius is just gonna get melted, and now followed up by Sao. Being killed, and Chihuahua with the TPs on the back lines. Is this going to be enough? Aurelia is going for the stun as well. Knockup is there, but then just goes in with Sonic Wave, melts him down. The culling is there to finish it up. It's the ace for Chihuahua.
Huge reposition there by Ken, dodging away from the damage from Aurelia, dodging away from the knockup, the crowd control, and just amazing team fighting coming through. Individual mechanical prowess. Ken dodges away from so much of the damage. With 10 seconds left on the clock, the fortification here actually makes a big difference, but you have 2 Kennen minions up, and with enough damage, perhaps might be able to close out the game.
Yeah, it will definitely be 3 seconds. That would not be enough, as Chihuahua will secure the series 2-0.
1 creep left standing in that final position. If 1 more minion had died, if the cannon was just half health, they would not have been able to close out that game. But job well done there, spotting that win moment is that killer instinct to know what needs to be done, closing it out 2-0, so Chihuahua will be able to progress into the next stage of the Wild Rift Open.
Ken just performing really, really well. Game 1, Game 2, Lucian hasn't been banned away. Just fantastic plays coming in from them. And although commendable as well from MDH, I think in the latter part of that matchup, they were trying to go in for a death brush. They got the kill onto John easy, but they weren't able to replicate it once again. That turned out it became like an advantage for Chihuahua to gain the kill because Darius was too far ahead.
And we're already reaching a point where I believe Chihuahua joining the likes of Grind Sky Eras and Roy Ladies in the top 8, meaning they get 1,000 wild cores just for getting to this point. But it's not over just yet. There's more to be had if they get deeper into competitions. If they make it into 4th place, that's when the cash prize starts to matter. They managed to win it all. Well, we'll have to see $550 on the line for 1st place. Also, worth mentioning as well, right, as the way that things are kind of progressing here, Chihuahua going to be able to maintain their big win streak. Grind Sky Eras are up in the top side bracket against Roy Ladies, who are looking very strong right now. Previous champions and overall regional kind of champions.
Yeah, and talking about Grind Sky Aries, now that you brought it up, let's actually look at the brackets if we could, so that we could see what the current standings are, where are the teams going at, who's gonna fight in the semifinals. There we go.
I just told you, Infi. I literally just said
No!
it.
Yeah, you talked about Grind Sky Aries, but what about the rest?
Yes, I literally said Chihuahua will join the likes of Grind Sky Eras and Royal Ladies in the top 8.
Oh.
Well, Talent
it's just
Esports.
visual.
Talent Esports are with the 1-0. That's interesting. Okay, so Talent Esports are up right now. Let's see if we can close this one out. Maybe take away the 2-0 win.
Yeah. Definitely
Very
could. I
interesting.
mean, their performance earlier was phenomenal.
But also, I mean, they executed well. It seems like they have a strong game plan. They don't seem as fluid, as flexible, which is not a major issue in my opinion. I think the main thing you should focus on first are like your fundamentals, and then getting all those right before you worry about what's the next step, and then trying to become more free flowing, free form. So main things focused on right now, I think Talent Esports are hitting those check marks, but also a lot of the teams that we've seen here, like Chihuahua, you see that killer instinct coming into play. It's not going to be easy dealing with them. If Talent Esports do win in their game against, let's be honest, they will face off against Chihuahua, who just demonstrated to us an ability to close out a 2-0 just off that one play. An ace happens in the mid lane, and they run it down, bring the minions across, take down the inhibitor, go for the Nexus while fortification is up, and still accurately estimate the amount of damage they have to win the game. I mean, if any of them had hesitated, would not have been possible, right?
Yeah.
That's the kind of like laser-like precision we have to watch out for.
Yeah. And talking about watching out for, viewers, it's a pleasure to meet you all, but quick shout outs on to the sponsors of this tournament. Thank you very much to Yahoo and Intel for making this tournament possible. But that's it. The final series that we are watching today, Grandin. Any quick expectations for tomorrow?
I think we're going to quick expectations. I'm not gonna go put it that way. I'm just going to say that whichever team makes it across, I mean, they're all looking incredible. I'm looking forward to see the winners of the Wild Rift Open 3. Yeah.
All right. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Once again, I'm Infinity, and this is Grandin with me for Wild Rift Open 3. And tomorrow, watch out, because it is going to be the grand finals tomorrow. So we're gonna throne the queens of Wild